Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of The Bottom Line on Air. My name is Claire Sullivan, your host. Each week, we will explore our campus's current events and breaking news stories. We are using this space to dig deeper, to elevate our discourse and understanding, and to put names to faces on FSU campus. Tonight, we are joined by Ash Lester, the new director for the Roper Gallery on campus, Holly Veith, the Director of Disability Support Services, and Emily Hash, a dancer who will be showcased during the upcoming spring dance concert hosted by the FSU Dance Company. Our first guest is Ash Lester, a sculptor and professor in the Fine Arts Department who coordinated the all-campus art exhibition that is currently on display in the Stephanie Roper Gallery. We are glad to have her on the show with us this evening. Thanks for being here, Ash.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So Ash, you're relatively new to campus. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and where you studied art?
Sure, my background, I grew up in northern New York, next to Vermont, on a lake that separates New York and Vermont. It's pretty isolated, very small town, kind of very similar to Frostburg in a way. I got my undergrad degree there in New York. And then I moved to Montreal, Quebec, and I lived in Quebec for a couple of years, and I was welding for the railroad. And then I got my graduate degree at the University of South Florida in Tampa.
You've really been all over the place. What inspired you to work with art students?
Sure. Well, I'm a practicing artist myself. Mm-hmm. So I just want to, teach students how to be successful artists and successful teachers, and to use critical thinking to start conversations and to express themselves.
That's great. So the Stephanie Roper Gallery is hosting an all-campus art exhibition now through Friday on April 16th. So could you tell us more about the genesis of that idea and what visitors can look forward to when visiting the display?
Sure. Well, the juried exhibition in the gallery, it actually happens every year in the spring. So it's been something that was going on before I even came to Frostburg. And this year was a little bit different because a lot of our students, as everyone knows, are virtual. We don't have a ton of students on campus right now. Mm-hmm. And so I was a little worried about getting a lack of work, but that wasn't the case. I think a lot of students were really excited to participate in something, to start doing things again. And so I did get a lot of work for this show. And the work, it ranges from photography, ceramics, sculpture, graphic prints, paintings, there's some drawings in there, linoleum prints. So I really got a large array of work across all mediums.
Tell me who was on the jury for the exhibition?
Sure. So the juror of this exhibition was Jennifer Brown from the English department. And I had asked her prior, I said, hey, Jennifer, are you interested in doing this? And she was very enthusiastic and wanted to help and was excited to be a juror for that show. So it was lovely to bridge someone in English and in creative writing with the arts, the visual arts.
Right. So for students who missed submitting this semester, will the Roper Gallery hold another all-campus exhibition in the future?
Absolutely. Every spring, there will be a juried exhibition. And again, it's open to all students on campus, not just students in the fine art department. So if someone is possibly in, business and does ceramics or drawings or graphic things and wants to submit work, we really encourage everyone or anyone on campus to submit work to that show.
Fantastic. So thinking about the Roper Gallery newly under your direction, what are some of the ways that you are thinking about that, utilizing that space, showcasing the fine arts department on campus?
Sure. Well, I'm really trying to get new, very current artists to come show in this space. And to have artists show work that maybe people haven't seen before or different types of work. I'm really trying to get the space to be more experimental, to have maybe video work shown in there, large installation work, different ceramics, and just, things that haven't been done in there before. So I'm really working to try to make it in the contemporary era.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that was the last question. That was good. So I'll move to the closing now. Ash, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us about the Stephanie Roper Gallery and the currently on display all-campus art exhibition. The gallery is open Monday through Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. And this show closes in just 2 days. So do make the time to check it out. Again, thank you, Ash. Have a great night. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, lovely to be here.
Our next guest is Holly Veith, Director of Disability Support Services on campus, located in Pullen Hall and associated with the PASS office. Holly and her colleagues assist hundreds of students each year, but many of their services still go underutilized. So we are very excited to have you, Holly, to discuss more about what services that your department can provide students.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So jumping right in, what is the basic overview of what the Disability Support Services Office can provide students?
My office serves about 300 students with any type of disability. That can be sensory impairments like blindness or hard of hearing, physical impairments, learning disabilities, and mental health disorders. So students who maybe had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school might be familiar with accommodations. We offer a lot of the same accommodations that maybe they received in high school, but we also have a lot of students who maybe got through high school just fine and didn't realize until they were in college and the courses got a little bit harder that they have a real problem paying attention or staying on track or keeping their assignments organized. So a lot of our students have been recently diagnosed with learning disabilities, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder. And when that diagnosis occurs, they bring documentation to my office. Then we have a discussion, review that documentation, and make recommendations for accommodations that they could use while they're here.
What are the range of accommodations that students can request?
So our most commonly used accommodations are testing accommodations. A student, for example, with dyslexia that has difficulty reading might need more time for an exam. The same might be true for a student with ADHD who maybe isn't concentrating well, especially under pressure. So they may need the same thing, kind of some extra time. The same might be true for a student with anxiety who might need a few minutes to do some breathing exercises. Or if there's a panic attack that occurs, we don't want you to fail the test because you didn't have time to answer it. So those are our most common, a low distraction environment and extra time for testing. But in reality, the accommodations that we provide to students are as different as the students themselves. So we make every effort to provide reasonable accommodations. So if you come to me and say, this is my diagnosis, this is how it affects me, this is where I'm impaired, and I really think if I could just have XYZ, then I might be able to do what I need to do. There's no list that says, oh, we've never done that before, so the answer is no. If it's reasonable and it doesn't interfere with kind of the learning objectives of the class, then we make every effort to put that into place.
And of course, DSS is housed within the PASS office, which can provide so many additional services to students, including tutoring and study skills help. So how do you work within that office to provide extra support to students who maybe don't need testing accommodations, but just like a little extra support for like a specific class or subject?
Sure. So I work with the PASS office and the tutoring center and the developmental mathematics program. There's a lot of overlap with my students and those services. For example, a student with ADHD might have some executive functioning difficulties and need study skill help. They might need a refresher on how to read a textbook or some note-taking strategies. So in that way, a lot of my students also use those services. But at the same time, there are also students who maybe don't quite qualify for accommodations. They don't have an official diagnosis, or maybe they've gone to have an evaluation and the response has been, no, you don't really meet the criteria for anything, but this student maybe just does need some support. So the nice thing is all of those programs are right here together in Pullen Hall. So if you come to see me looking for accommodations and it turns out that maybe you don't qualify, I can right now connect you to somebody else within the PASS office that might be able to give you some support.
Okay. So for students who worry about the stigma attached to neurodivergence or maybe slightly different learning styles, what would you say to them, and how do you convince them to come to your office?
Well, first, I like to remind students that this is a confidential process. Any documentation that I receive goes into a filing cabinet that's in my office. I'm the only one who has access to that. When you're approved for accommodations and your professors are notified, the letter that they receive also keeps your private information private. It doesn't say this student has depression and that's why they need all of these accommodations. It wouldn't say anything like that. It would simply say this student's registered with our office and this is what we need to do for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. I don't, share that information with anybody without your permission.
Right.
The other thing that I would say is that with over 300 students, that comes out to be about 1 in 17 FROSTBURG students who are registered with my office. So, if you think about your average class size, there's probably somebody in that class who's using accommodations. You might not know who they are, but it's more than you think. So, I understand kind of the stigma. Nobody wants to feel like they're different or they have, greater needs than the average student. But the reality is that the needs that the needs that students have are as diverse as they are. And it's pretty common for students to need some sort of accommodations while they're here.
Right. So fundamentally, this is a diversity, equity, and inclusion topic. So in what ways do you think that we as a campus community can support students with learning styles different from our own?
Well, I have to say, I think that, one of my favorite things about college students currently, this generation of college students, is how inclusive they are. It seems to be kind of a real culture that you all have created that says, hey, you're a little different from me, and that's cool. So that's really great for me to see. That's really helpful, I think, is just kind of that mindset. But I think it's also important to remember that, first of all, disability is not a bad word. We don't have to pretend that, someone who is in a wheelchair maybe can just do everything that we can do. We know that's probably not true. They have different needs and different abilities. So it's not helpful to kind of pretend that everybody's the same and that, no one has any kind of different needs. That's not really helpful. And in addition, that neurodiversity really is needed. We need people who kind of think outside the box, whose brains are maybe wired a little bit differently, so they see the world a little bit differently, and they can really provide some creative solutions to problems. So if we think of disability as more of a diversity issue, not everybody's the same, and don't talk about how that person looks or learns. And instead think about, well, how can we work together? And you have strengths, I have strengths. I think that's an important part. Finally, I would say we just need to listen to people with disabilities. They are the experts. If they tell you this is what I'd like to be called or how I'd like to be referred to, we respect that in people. So listen to people with disabilities and what they have to say about their own experiences. And I think that's really the foundation for that issue of diversity.
So one last question. How do students on and off campus get in touch with you to seek out the services that you guys provide?
Sure. Well, they're welcome to just come by PULLEN 150. If I'm available, I can meet with you right now. If not, then someone in the office can get you on my calendar and we can sit down and talk about what your needs are and where to go from here. You can also give me a call. I'm at extension 4483 or send me an email at disability@FROSTBURG.EDU.
Great. Thank you so much, Holly. That was the last question. We really appreciate the hard work that you guys do to support all types of students at FSU. You guys are really valuable at this university. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thanks. Our final guest is Emily Hash, a member of the FSU Dance Company that is starring in the Spring Dance Concert. The dance company, which has been performing at Frostburg State for over 40 years now, is under the direction of Natalie Bennett. Their Spring Dance Concert will be available for viewing online, tentatively scheduled for April 29th. Emily, thanks a lot for joining the Bottom Line on Air to talk about the event.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
So Emily, tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? What do you study at FSU? And how did you get involved with the FSU Dance Company?
So I'm a senior here at FSU. I actually graduate May 7th. I am a major in business administration, but I minor in dance. I've been dancing for 16 years. I grew up in Northeast Maryland, which is 3 hours east of here. My home studio is Cecil Dance Center. That's where I grew up. That's where I danced. I spent my 2 semesters ago, I spent at the Disney College program. I was an entertainment member there. I was a performer down in Florida for Disney World as a part of kind of my dance studies here and my business studies. Second part of the question. Oh, how did I get involved with the dance company? So this is actually, so I'm a transfer student. This is my 4th semester here, but technically my 3rd because of the fact that I spent a semester in Disney World. So I actually haven't been a member of the dance company before because it hasn't been running while I was here. COVID took a hit and it wasn't open in the first winter I was here. So this is the first semester it's been available to actually take. I talked to Nicole Mattis about it. And she said there weren't many people, but we were going to get it running just because I graduated and we didn't have much time left. So we started it this semester and we're hoping to keep it going.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you guys took that initiative. That's exciting, especially the Disney part. Yeah. So this year's show is understandably different from previous years. Tell me about how preparing for a virtual dance event, the way you and your dancers approach that creative process, how's it different from the regular kind?
It was a big adjustment. So we were not able to utilize a stage due to COVID. We had to use the Black Box Theater, and we were not aware of when we were supposed to be filming our production at all. We were told basically last minute when we had to film. So we threw everything together for our concert within a month and a half and filmed everything the week of March 5th.
Wow.
Yeah. So we took a whole week of filming and had our lighting team, our videographer, our photographer, our director, all of us choreograph pieces. We had costuming with us. We had to ship Amazon purchases. It was kind of a humble jumble of stuff that happened very last minute. But we made it work. We pulled it together. We've seen the first cut of our concert and we're very proud of it.
That's great. That's really impressive. So how would you say that dance has like helped you cope with the pandemic and such an unusual school year?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Because dance isn't something that you just have to do,
Mhm.
in a classroom setting or in a studio setting. I would spend time outside doing it or by myself doing it, and all the dancers in the company agree with it. It's a way to release, kind of going to, even though class is at 9 in the morning, we still enjoy it because it's dancing. It's what we do.
Right. So, can you tell me how many pieces are going to be performed by the dance company during the concert in spring?
So we have 8 pieces that we put together, ranging from 3 to 5 minutes. We have 3 choreographed by Natalie Bennett, our director, and the rest are student choreographed pieces.
So, tell us a little bit about your performances. Like, what are you going to be dancing to, and what would you say has served as your inspiration?
So I am actually in every piece. So I'm in all 8 pieces. We did a really wide range of styles. We tried to really encompass everything that we could in the short amount of time that we had. I choreographed kind of a more contemporary piece. It's more of what I'm trained in. I really enjoy doing that contemporary, and the styles really, it's kicking off in commercial dance and such. So that's what inspired me to do my piece. Plus, I really liked my song that I picked. It's a favorite of mine, so it kept me going, and it inspired the lighting and the costumes and everything else.
That's great. So, for anyone who may want to get involved with the dance company in the future, when are auditions held each year?
So that's very tentative. We have no idea. This is the first semester it's happened in a while. I mean, last semester was supposed to happen and COVID cut it short. So we're hoping it can happen in the winter with COVID. Stay tuned for dates about that. We're hoping.
Understandable. I believe that is all the questions I have for you today. It's been great getting to know you. I'm really excited. We are all really excited to see how the performing arts is adapting to the current environment. I think it's really impressive what you guys have pulled off so far. Thank you so much for being here, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We want to thank our guests, Holly Veith, Emily Hash, and Ash Lester. Be sure to check out the all-campus art exhibition before it closes on Friday, April 16th, and tune into the spring dance concert. Next week's episode is the Bottom Line's Earth Day special. We will be joined by local activist and student Laurel Plitnick, coordinator for the Sustainability Studies minor Tracy Edwards, and Dr. Thomas Cadenazzi, who is launching the Life Cycles Facility Management major at FSU. So tune in next Wednesday, April 21st at 8 p.m. for that special episode. This show is a collaboration between FSU TV3 and The Bottom Line. To stay connected with us, you can find The Bottom Line at thebottomlinenews.com and on Facebook and Twitter. FSU TV3 can also be found on social media and at FROSTBURG.EDU/FSU TV3. Thank you for joining us. My name is Claire Sullivan, and this has been The Bottom Line on Air. Good night.